Let's solve some problems involving half-life. The crucial fact to remember with half-life is that when one half-life passes, the amount of radioactive substance that remains is cut in half. Okay, so the first question says we've got some isotope whose half-life is 10 days. That's T1 half. A particular sample has 80 grams of that isotope. That's the amount, and we're measuring it here with mass. Question A asks, how much of the isotope remains after 50 days? Well, as 10 days pass, you cut the value in half. So you start with 80 grams, 10 days pass, and you're down to 40. 10 more days pass, another half-life, and you're down to 20. Another half-life, 10 more days, and you're down to 10. Let's see, 30 days have passed. We've got to get up to 50 days, so we do this 2 more times. Another 10 days pass, and you are now down to 5 grams. 10 more days pass, and you are down to 2.5 grams. So that is the answer. The remaining mass is 2.5 grams. Now, you can work it out in sort of a chart like this, or you can realize that 50 days is just 5 half-lives. So you start with the original amount, 80 grams, and you're going to cut it in half 5 times. Oops. And you plug that into the calculator and you get 2.5 grams. The next question says, what percentage of the original sample remains after 50 days? This is the exact same problem, except now we're not going to start with 80 grams. We are going to start with 100%. Okay, so just like before, 50 days, that would be 5 half-lives. So we cut this thing in half 5 times. Cutting it in half once gives 50. Cutting it in half again is 25. Let's see, cutting 25 in half gives us 12.5%. Cutting the 12.5, how many times have I done this? 3 times so far. 12.5% cut in half, 6.25%. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 times I've cut it in half. I have to cut it in half 5 times for the 5 half-lives. So we cut this in half 1 final time, and we get 3.125%. And that is the final answer. That's the percentage. If we start from 100, from the total initial amount, which is 100%, that's how much is remaining after 5 half-lives. Next, radium-223 has a half-life of 11 days. That's T1 half. A sample initially contains 300 grams. How much time elapses until this is the amount that remains? Okay, so how do we do this? Well, really, it's pretty simple. We start with the 300 grams, and we say, how many times do we have to cut in half to reach this final value? So 300, let's divide by 2. We do that once and we get 150. If we repeat the process, that's 2 times, we're at 75. After 3 times, we are at 37.5 grams. So what did we do? We said, start with 300, cut it in half, that's 150. So that must have been 1 half-life, which is 11 days. Cut it in half again, and we are at 75, 11 more days. Cut it in half again, 37.5 grams. So how many days in sum did we have to go through? 33. Part B says, how much time elapses until 25% of the original content remains, the original radium content? And this is again the same. Divide by 2 and you're at 50. Divide that by 2, you're at 25. How many times did we divide? Twice. So 2 half-lives passed, and each of those half-lives is 11 days, which gives us 22 days total. Here is the final question. A freshly prepared sample has 1,200 grams of a radioactive isotope. 30 weeks pass, and 18.75 grams remain. what is the best estimate of the half-life? So this is a similar procedure. You start with 1,200 grams, you divide by 2, and what do you get? 600. You take your 600, you divide by 2, that's 300. Take your 300 grams, divide by 2, and that's 1,500. And, whoops, pardon me, 150. And you just keep on going. 150 over 2 is 75 grams. 75 grams cut in half is going to be 37.5 grams. And we repeat this process. 37.5 grams, divided by 2 is going to give us, finally, 18.75 grams. And it is nice to do this on the calculator because it's so simple and easy. Let's try that again. You start with your 1,200, divide by 2. Once we've divided, twice now we've divided, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and 6 times. So you just count how many times did we have to divide in order to reach the final amount. In this case, we had to divide 6 times. And so we say, okay, 6 half-lives have passed. And 6 half-lives is equal to how long? 30 weeks. If you divide both sides by 6, 1 half-life would be 5 weeks. And that is our answer. Thanks for watching this video.